Hey guys, welcome to the daily December download. And today I just gotta I guess I never really gave a full video of my thoughts on when a few months ago, as you can see by the footage, earlier this year, I streamed Zelda's Majora's Mask. I was paid to play a Zelda game for the first time, and thanks to Super, you could say hi to him in my Discord and blame him for this video existing. He decided that I play Majora's Mask, the 3DS port, specifically with mods to make it similar to the N64 version while having the improvements of the 3DS port. So I did play the best version, according to him, of Majora's Mask as my first playthrough of the game. And by the end of the game, I gave it a 6 out of 10. If I wasn't streaming it, I probably wouldn't have gotten past the first dungeon. And why is that? Zelda's a really beloved franchise. People love the dungeons, people love the puzzles, people love the exploration. And Majora's Mask, a lot of it is talking to the NPCs and all that other stuff. For me, I kinda didn't care that much. Let me explain my thing with dungeons, because this is like Zelda in a nutshell, really. Zelda, his whole thing is going into dungeons, solving a bunch of puzzles, and going back and forth within the dungeon, using the items that you get within the dungeon to solve the puzzles within the dungeon to get to the boss and complete the dungeon. You're done. Okay, I understand that. For me, I don't find Zelda's combat or movement inherently fun. So I don't really want to fight enemies because the combat is kind of lame in Zelda and I didn't really like it. Also, a thing I remember really hating, the game requires me to do a lot of platforming, but there's no dedicated jump button, which is stupid. How come I can't have a dedicated jump button? Everyone's like, "Oh man, you don't need it. It auto jumps for you." No. I would like to make my own decision on how I jump. I would like to be able to decide that on my own. I hate when games force a thing to happen for me instead of letting me do it myself, and I was told that pretty much all the Zelda games did that, and I'm like, that's terrible design. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I would like to decide my own fate. Thank you very much. So yeah, I didn't like the controls. I thought the combat, it took a second to get used to because I never played a Zelda game before. Everyone was constantly crapping on me because not knowing how to play a Zelda game like I've played one before when I hadn't played one before. So I can't be good at something I haven't played. Yeah, I eventually got used to the combat, but even then I just never really rocked with it. And the only reason I spent as much time in the dungeons as I did is because I was looking for the fairies, because I was told that I would get a fairy sword and that would make my life a little bit easier for the final boss. So because of that, I spent a lot of time in the dungeon doing that. Outside of that, I don't find the dungeons inherently interesting, but that's just because I don't like puzzles. I'm not a puzzle guy. I like short puzzles, quick puzzles, but anything outside of like a quick brain teaser, I'm probably just gonna look up the answer because I don't like puzzles. I like combat puzzles, like, oh, how do I beat this boss? How do I shoot? How do I beat this area? Oh, I gotta do this to do this. I like puzzles like that. But if it's about like moving blocks around or just like, you know, it's like some of it is kind of creative though. I will give Zelda credit. It's not like the game's bad. It just doesn't rock with me. I think I should make that very clear. I don't think Majora's Mask, or probably any Zelda game, is a bad game if Majora's Mask is any representation of the rest of the series. I just think that it's not for me, particularly because it doesn't have any of the things that I would like interesting. Outside of outside of like just the combat and the movement not being to my liking. When you're in the open area, you're kind of slow unless you have some power-ups. Like, it's which luckily Majora's Mask has, so it wasn't that big of a deal for me in this game. But I know the other, like, I've seen footage of Ocarina of Time. That field would make me stop playing the game. I don't think people realize how much I care about movement. It would just make me stop playing. I do think that the NPCs in Majora's Mask were kind of cool and cute. They had a lot of little side quests going on, a lot of little side stories. Some of them were interesting. Were kind of interesting. Some little mini games. I had my fun, but like, I was never really super invested in any of the characters in the world at all. And I don't think anything ever hooked me. And I think that's a major problem with Majora's Mask. Nothing really hooked me story-wise, and I know Zelda has a story focus. So, and I didn't really care about the characters too much. Like, some of them were kind of quirky, some of them were kind of interesting. I didn't really rock with it. I did rock with the power-ups, though. I liked the power-ups. The mask system was pretty good. I rocked with that the whole time. I think that was a pretty cool mechanic. It's like, what else? What else can I say about that game? Game looks good. 3DS game, I played it upscaled, and looks good. Looks good for like a 3DS game, and it looks like a GameCube game almost. And you know, I rock with the art style of the remake. It looks nice. And again, I did have my fun with some other things. I did kind of have I had kind of had fun wandering around in the beginning of the game, kind of like trying to figure stuff out. Everyone got mad at me because I didn't know what to do at first, and they're like, "How did you waste all 3 days?" And it's like, well, I didn't know what to do. I was kind of wandering around for the first time. But it was. Sorry, I'm yawning so much. I should not be this tired. But yeah, I think that's like a good generalized thing in my thoughts, like on Majora's Mask from memory. And why I just don't rock with it is just, I don't like the movement, I don't like the combat, the story wasn't gripping, and I got like the Sonic the Hedgehog move, and that was like the best move in the game, like with the Gorgon guy, being able to roll. That was fun. That was a fun addition. But you know, outside of that, I can't really think much highlights of my experience playing that game. And the further I get away with it, the more forgettable it becomes, because it just didn't really have much impact on me as a narrative or as just a world to be a part of. Again, a huge part of the appeal of Majora's Mask is Temna, and because Temna didn't land for me, I don't think it wasn't gonna. My experience was tainted because of that. Because no one really wanted with me. I liked coming up with fun voices for the characters. That was fun. But I think a perfect example of why I think that I wasn't having that great of a time even when I was playing it is that I would sometimes take multiple minutes to just pause and talk, to chat, or with people who were in my Discord with me at the time. And I had more. That's the most I've ever really done that for any live stream that I ever did on this channel. And I think that's really telling of like I was kind of losing interest and kind of just forcing myself to play. I wasn't looking forward to playing Zelda. I was playing it because I kind of had to. And you know, you never really want to be in a situation like that. Maybe I'll play some other Zelda games just to see, like, because like the ones that interest me the most are Wind Waker and Link to the Past. Hopefully I like those, but as of right now, Zelda just seems like a franchise that isn't for me. I'm not a fan of dungeons, I'm not a fan of puzzles, and I'm not a fan of the combat, I'm not a fan of the movement. The gameplay loop isn't inherently satisfying for me, and when I'm in the dungeon, I'm more just waiting for the end, and I just want to leave said dungeon. Not to say that Zelda Majora's Mask wasn't charming. It had a lot of charm. That's why I'm giving it a 6. It's not a bad game. For me, 6 out of 10 means fine. You know what? Tomorrow I'll make a video about my rating system and what each rating means to me and examples of each. Okay. I'm super tired for no reason. Yeah, see you guys tomorrow.